Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 5:30, and I will call this regular meeting of the Burnsville City Council to order. It is our tradition to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we invite you to join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If the clerk would note that Councilmember Schultz is absent this evening. Councilmember Schultz has a family emergency that she is attending to. And tonight's meeting is being conducted both in person and online. Members of the public may attend in person, or the public can also watch this meeting at burnsvillemn.gov/meetings or Comcast Channel 16 or 859. The public can also participate through Zoom by joining us at zoom.us/join. More information is available on our meeting webpage and in the council agenda packet. The next item on the agenda is announcements. Our announcements have to do with all of our upcoming meetings. Regular council meetings are scheduled for Tuesday, April 2nd at 5:30 p.m. and Tuesday, April 16th at 5:30 p.m. We have a work session that's scheduled for Tuesday, March 26th at 5:30 p.m. and Tuesday, April 9th at 5:30 p.m. We also have a budget session that's scheduled for Tuesday, March 26th at 6:30 p.m. The next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. This is the opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the council on an item that is not on our printed agenda, not in application form, that will be coming to us at a future date. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council? Anyone? Mrs. Collins, anyone online?
Mayor, I do have some attendees online, but no one has said that they would like to address at this time.
Okay, thank you. We will move on. The next item is additions to the final agenda, and this is for emergency items only. City Manager Lindberg, are there any emergency items to come before the body?
Nothing from staff, Mayor.
Thank you. Members of the council. Okay, we will then proceed. The next item is the consent agenda. This is a group of items that's considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. However, an item on the consent agenda can be removed for a separate discussion and vote. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes an item on the consent agenda to be removed for a separate discussion and vote? Anyone? Mrs. Collins?
Nothing so far, Madam Mayor.
Okay. City Manager Lindberg, does staff wish to pull an item?
Not from staff, Mayor.
Okay. Members of the council, may I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda, please?
To approve. Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. And motion carries. We now move on to the regular agenda. And the first item on the regular agenda is 5A. And this is a public hearing. This is a resolution vacating drainage and utility easements as dedicated on the plat of Holiday Burn Hill Addition. And presenting is our city engineer, Mr. Logan Velocity. I'll get that pronunciation well next time.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Thank you. Tonight we have a fairly straightforward drainage and utility easement vacation. We received a petition and application from the property owner requesting that these easements be vacated because they're going to be replatted as either Dakota County right-of-way or drainage and utility easements on the new plat. So this is the subject site. It's the Cub Foods property. It's located at County Road 42, County Road 5, and McAndrews. And then our city street there on the east side is Irving Avenue. This is the original plat showing the drainage and utility easements to be vacated. And again, these are all these areas are gonna be replatted either as Dakota County right-of-way or as drainage and utility easements. This is the new plat. This is Burn Hill 3rd edition, showing the new Dakota County right-of-way and the new drainage and utility easement areas. So with that, our recommendation is to hold the public hearing and approve the resolution with the condition that any utility relocations would be paid for by the developer. We're not aware of any utilities that would need to be relocated.
Okay, thank you. Members of the council, any questions? Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this item? Anyone who wishes to speak to this item? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. Members of the council,
Second.
there is a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you so much.
Yep.
The next item is 5B, and 5B is also a public hearing, and this is to approve on-sale intoxicating liquor and on-sale Sunday license for PS Hospitality Burnsville LLC, doing business as 888 901 County Road 42 West, Unit B 150. Presenting this evening is our city clerk, Michelle Collins. Ms. Collins.
Thank you, Mayor. We did get an application from PS Hospitality Burnsville. This is for the food hall, the new food hall in the mall, for an on-sale liquor license. The police department has conducted background investigations on the principals involved, and nothing was found to deny the application. The license issuance tonight would be contingent upon their certificate of occupancy and payment of any associated license fees. City code requires a public hearing for all new liquor license applications. I stand for any questions.
Any questions for City Clerk Collins? Okay, this is the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this item? Anyone who wishes to speak to this item? Marshall, you don't have to speak. However, tell us when it's going to be open. Would you want to come forward, please, and give your name and address for the record, right up here? Because everybody is always interested, you know, so give us your, right here.
Right here? Okay.
Yeah, right here.
Oh, sorry, it's the first time.
Yeah.
So we had a
Your
good.
name and address for the record.
Yep, my name
so-
is Marshall Wynn. I'm also one of the owners at Burnsville and the project. And we had a pretty good press release that came out this week and also last week. And we're targeting the end of spring. So things are coming along. I know that there were delays, but again, you know, they say that Rome was not built in one day, and neither is revitalizing them all. So we're excited about it. So we're our target date is the end of spring. So.
Okay, very good, because everybody is interested and everybody is waiting patiently.
I know, me too.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
The videos you've posted on your website are also very, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? I will then close the public hearing.
Move to approve the new food hall.
A new one. Okay, there's a motion
Second?
and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you. And we're waiting patiently. The next item is 5C, and this too is a public hearing, and this is to approve reseller's license for Cheddar LLC. Cheddar is located at 181 River Hill Circle South, and City Clerk Michelle Collins is presenting. Mrs. Collins.
Madam Mayor, before Ms. Collins presents, the owners of Cheddar LLC are my boss, and I'm working on this project specifically, so I will recuse myself from the discussion and vote.
Okay, thank you. And please, for the clerk to note that Councilmember Keeley has recused himself from this item.
Thank you, Mayor. We did get an application from Cheddar LLC, and this is for a mobile reseller, which follows the same resellers license requirements that we have for our non-mobile resellers. with the headquarters there on River Ridge Circle. Approval of the license authorizes Cheddar to only do business within the city of Burnsville. The police department is aware of the license applications and had no concerns. They've conducted background investigations on the principals involved, and nothing was found to deny the application. City code requires a public hearing for all new reseller applications. I stand for any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Collins? I will now open a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this item? Anyone who wishes to speak to this item? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. Members of council, when I read this, I thought this was really a wonderful opportunity for a different option for our residents, for our seniors, because it's a service on the road, just like EBA. You know, we take EBA out and engage with our residents and our businesses. And this particular concept also is the same way. So if you need Cheddar to come in and look at purchasing some of the goods that you have that you want to sell, they will come out and do that analysis without residents having to pack up all of that stuff, take it in, and then bringing it back. So I thought it was a great concept, a new concept for our community. And with that, if there are no other comments,
Move to approve.
there's a motion.
Second?
And a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. Good luck. The next item is item 5D, and this is to approve the 2024 Parks and Natural Resources Work Plan. And it looks like Mr. Ryan is presenting rather than Mrs. Woolman.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. Our Parks and Natural Resources Chair is on her way.
Okay.
I can begin the presentation, or I could certainly sit out and wait for her. She's coming from work and was just delayed slightly.
Members of the council, do you want us to proceed or wait for Mrs. Woolman?
Can you present?
I have the information in front of me, Councilman.
Perfect.
Gustafson.
Okay,
Okay,
so we will proceed.
very good.
Okay. Mr. Ryan, the floor is yours.
All right, good evening, Madam Mayor and members of council. It's a pleasure being with you tonight to discuss the work of the Parks and Natural Resources Commission. As stated in Code 221, our mission is to advise the City Council and staff of any parks and natural resources issues. It's to guide the development, improvement, renovation, and management of our park system, and to advocate for responsible use, preservation, and enhancement of our natural resources. Any topics that come before the PNRC should fall into one of three categories. Those categories are required updates based on approved plans, policies, or codes, studies or projects that require a recommendation to council to create a change to a park experience, or items requested by the commission and approved by you, the council, and relevant to the nature of our Parks and Natural Resources Commission. There are 6 items in the category of approved plans, policies, and codes. On an annual basis, we receive an update on the deer management plan. We serve as a citizen panel and conduct public hearing on our stormwater pollution prevention program. We receive an update on the state of the lakes. Annually, we receive an update on the city's sustainability plan. In 2024, we will review the city's cell tower and parks policy. And in 2024, we will be reviewing or looking at the Partners in Energy Plan. This is tentative and just a placeholder for now until the city moves forward with that plan.
That plan is already in our sustainability plan.
I believe that it is. It's still a work in progress before it
Yeah, it
comes
comes
to us
before
and
you.
makes it
Okay.
official on our work plan. But we wanted to note it going into the year,
That is part of
year
your task. Okay.
Correct. Annually, we review the park's CIP for better understanding of projects that are coming up. This year, we will review the parks plan. We know that a lot of work has happened in 2023, and we are anxious to hear those results. We will review the annual work plan with council, which is what we are doing today. There are also items that the commission has requested, and we will be presenting to them at a future meeting. They are review of the happenings at Terrace Oaks Park. There's been a lot of things going on over there, removal of buckthorn and things like that have caught the eye of a lot of our commissioners, and they would like more information on all of it. Review of the watershed boundaries and how each of those work with the city. They would like an update on our native planting areas, especially here at Civic Center Park and out at Allen Magnet. And they are looking for an update or information on any trends that are happening in the areas of parks and natural resources. New this year, there were a couple topics that we thought the city thought it would be able to provide them the necessary information through a written response rather than through a presentation. These items include an emerald ash borer update. This is kind of a follow-up to our parks tour last year when we were out at Neal Park in September. They are curious to know if there are any financial incentives for residents to restore their canopies in their yards or on their boulevards. They're looking for an update on the Minnesota River Quadrant project. That's been something that's been in discussion for a number of years, and it has an impact on our natural resources. And they would like to have a better understanding of drought conditions in Burnsville and what the city's rules and regulations are as it relates to water use in the city. For 2024, staff has been working to create 3 tours this year. The first is that Parks Tour. Again, I think many of you council members, you enjoyed that Parks Tour as much as our commissioners did. They would also like a tour of the water treatment plant, and they would also like to know more about the Met Council Environmental Services Treatment Plant. Public Works Director Mark Ray has been working to help us find dates to make those 2 tours work for our commission.
That's an interesting one to do, the Met Council. And
I can imagine
Yeah.
we had some very good discussion at our commission meeting planning for that. So, with that, our council, I will stand for any questions.
And I see Mrs. Woolman is present.
Or our
welcome.
chair is welcome to come up.
Yeah,
join me.
so,
Just as I got the message that they're starting, I was like, I'm in the parking lot. I'm running.
yeah, well, welcome, Ms. Woolman. And thank you for your service as chair of the Parks and Natural Resource Commission. It looks like you all have a full plate in 2024.
Always.
Yeah,
We're very motivated.
yeah, well, good.
I apologize for being late. I had the wrong time written down, so
Okay.
thanks for messaging me.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Here I am.
yeah. Mr. Ryan did a good job of standing in for you, so.
He always does.
Yeah, thank you. Members of the council, any questions or comments? Yeah, we really appreciate all the work that you do in helping us, because this is how we do our work. We do it together, and you do some of that heavy lifting up front, and then when you all agree on something and there is no disagreement, when it comes to us, it's on the consent agenda as we review it. So thank you for all of the work that you do. Please extend our gratitude to the members of the Parks and Natural Resource Commission.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the council, I need a motion to adopt the work plan.
Move to approve?
Second?
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and a motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is an application by Chase Commercial Properties LLC for a zoning ordinance amendment to add schools, academics, colleges, universities, libraries as conditional use to the I-3 Office and Industrial Park Zone, and a conditional use permit for a proposed charter school at 14101 South Cross Drive West. And presenting this evening is Mr. Thompson, our Community Development Director. Mr. Thompson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So as you introduced, we have received a formal development application from the owner of this property on South Cross for 2 separate zoning actions. The first is to amend the I3 zoning district, which I'll walk through in just a minute. And the second is a conditional use permit to allow a charter school to then operate at the property on South Cross Drive. It's a quick review of the property. So it's the property where the school would be located is 14101 South Cross. It's the former site of the Apex Management office building. It's a 3-story office building there today. And you can see on the right the zoning. So the property is zoned I3, which is our office and industrial district. And you can see that's the same zoning as all of the properties on the north and south side of County Road 42, west of the railroad crossing of underneath 42. Just as a brief reminder and background, the council actually reviewed this back in October in a sketch plan review at a council work session. And that was just the conceptual request of the developer and property owner about this proposed use. And based on the feedback from the council at that meeting, they did proceed forward with the application that's before the council tonight. The ordinance amendment is very straightforward. It just takes the existing conditional uses within that zoning district and adds a new section that calls out schools, academies, colleges, universities, and libraries. And this is language that is found in other sections of our ordinance where we allow schools. It tends to be kind of this broader definition, including other ancillary or other typical uses that are similar to schools moving forward. So it would add that section into the I3 zoning district. So that's as straightforward as the ordinance amendment, the text amendment is. And then as we mentioned, then they have the application before you for the specific site on South Cross for a public charter school that they have now identified as Seven Hills Academy, which would be a K-5 school on this site that would occupy the entire building. There would be an entire remodeling of the existing office building. There's no expansion to the square footage of the building in terms of enclosed space. There are a number of kind of exterior site improvements they're looking at in terms of outdoor play areas and outdoor activities areas, as well as kind of some changes to allow for bus drop-off and bus pickup of students, as well as parent pickup and drop-off of students that would occur on the site. And as you can see on the plan, that would kind of occur on this side of the property where that bus pickup and loading area would be.
Where is it? Go back to your map, and where is the play area going to be?
Those are back here.
In
so
the
there's-
backside, so
Yep,
it's not going to be up front where the street is.
correct. Mayor, that's correct.
And I'm sure that that's all going to be fenced in.
Correct. The Planning Commission held the public hearing on this item on February 12th. There was one person that spoke at the public hearing. I think we put the minutes, unapproved minutes in your packet so you could see the comments from the public hearing. The Planning Commission took separate votes on the two applications. There was a 4-1 vote to recommend approval of the zoning ordinance amendment. The dissent was concerned about really the compatibility of the land use, just noting that I3 is an industrial and can have heavy industrial uses, just concerned about a school use and the lack of compatibility with that type of thing within an industrial zoning district with trucks and traffic and the operations. But then on the actual specific use, it was unanimous 5-0 to recommend approval of the CUP for the charter school on the site. So with that, we've prepared the council's documents, the zoning ordinance amendment, and the findings of fact to approve the conditional use permit and the ordinance amendment for Chase Commercial Properties, and that's consistent with the Planning Commission recommendation. So with that, Mayor, Council, I'm happy to answer questions. I know we have representatives from the property owner and the school here tonight also.
Anyone have questions? Any questions? Okay. Members of the council, I did notify Mr. Chase, as you all recall, at our work session, I had some concerns about changing our I3 zoning when schools and universities, et cetera, and libraries are all permitted uses in B1, 2, 3, and 4, and in mixed and transit-oriented development, also allowed in residential zoning, but not permitted in I1, 2, and 3. So from my perspective, as I articulated at the work session is that this changes the zoning, and we don't have much I3 zoning left. And also, this change opens it up, all I3, to allow the uses that have already been identified. And it shrinks the tax base. And one of the policies that we have is that in our economic development chapter of our plans, we talk about jobs creation and tax base retention and expansion, and fostering a diversified growth in redevelopment and sustainable viability of our commercial and industrial property. This changes all of that. And so I understand what Mr. Chase wants to do, and it is his property, and I understand when we had the work session that this was going to go forward. But he also knows that I'm voting against this simply because of what I have already addressed, which is it shrinks the tax base, it reduces our I3 when uses like this is permitted in all B1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is where we protect our job creation and the tax base. And this tax base also is what the state uses. 33% of this goes for education, and that's shrinking that base for education purposes as well. But mainly it really disrupts our land use with regard to our economic development efforts. So I understand where everybody is coming from, but I'm not going to be voting for this because it just opens up all of I3, and we don't have I3 available. So Councilmember Workman.
Thank you. I guess I'll just explain why I will be voting for this. I believe at our work session, when we were looking this over, we did find that there are some other, at least close uses to education in our industrial parks. And I think about over at, what's the one over by my office called? Over off of 12th Avenue and between Cliff and 13. Lark Industrial. A very industrial area, but there's uses that are close to this through gymnasiums, soccer clinics, things like that have been successful.
But they're for profit. It doesn't take away the tax base.
Well, and then I was going to lead into, I guess my preference would be that we have a building with occupancy as opposed to a building that I think otherwise was going to continue to sit vacant. As the Chase team alluded to, they've tried for some time to get some office use into this location, and just the way our economy is right now, office use is plummeting, and we're seeing that even in downtown Minneapolis. And I guess it would be a waste of this opportunity if I didn't bring up the fact that the legislature has continued to nip at our buds as far as what we are able to zone for. I'm not saying that they're coming after this specifically, but they're making a very valiant effort to come after our ability to zone in residential areas. And so zoning as a whole is being assessed across the state right now. But with that said, it's a beautiful building. It's not like this is going into some old coal power plant. It's just a office building that is sitting on the edge of an industrial area, and I'm comfortable with the change, and I will leave it at that.
Councilmember Keeley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. One of the things I want to comment on related to our flexibility in zoning is, as Councilmember Workman pointed out, we've been very flexible in the Lark Industrial Park, which is an even older industrial area, and I think we're not alone. Every city today is being challenged within their zoning because of the changing needs of the marketplace. This is a perfect example of where there was once a need for a very large office, maybe with some manufacturing in the back, maybe just huge office. I think we all know post-pandemic, office demand is not what it used to be. Maybe more dramatically in the state of Minnesota because we've lagged. I think we're in the bottom 3 or 4 for getting back to the office across the country. And so I think we're always challenged when the marketplace starts to evolve in a different direction than what was established in the 80s, for example. And it's tough, but what was good in the 80s, like the industrial park on the west side of town, fit the market demand at the time. Now things are changing and the market is demanding something different. And I don't want to draw a line in the sand and say, hey, this was established in the 80s and we want industrial in there, so continue to pay your taxes and leave your building empty until the market comes back around. In the foreseeable future, there may not be much coming back around when it comes to office space. And so we have to be more open-minded and flexible. To the point that the mayor makes, we definitely prefer not to have properties go off the tax rolls into a nonprofit, but at the same time, that is the reality for this type of use. And as we have in the past, we've had the same debate over 2 or 3 times in the 18 years that I've been sitting here, and we've been flexible. It doesn't happen very often. It's really the exception, not the rule. And I think this is a great use for this particular building, and I think we need to be responsive to the market. The other thing is, from a tax base standpoint, this city knows that we are turning toward franchise fees to help fund our facilities. And franchise fees don't follow the same rules that property tax do, so every property pays into the franchise fee. And I think that's the right thing to do because everybody in the city draws upon city resources, whether it's police and fire, city hall, whatever. And so I think everybody should be paying into that. So I think I'm in favor of this project as I was when it came to the work session, and I think it's the right thing to do. Again, it's the exception, not the rule. We don't get this every week. We don't get it every month. We get it maybe once a year or once every 3 or 4 years. So this is an example of being pro-business and being flexible, which this council is very proud of, and we stand behind that. And sometimes we're tested on that, like maybe this one, in this case. But I support it 100%, and I think having that building full and live, and the parking lot full of cars, full of students, is a good thing, even if it's right on the edge of a commercial area. Thank you.
City Manager Lindberg.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, given the potential for a division on your vote tonight, I'd suggest that we bifurcate or separate the 2 items in front of you. You have an ordinance amendment and a conditional use permit. I'd suggest that you take those as 2 separate items.
And we can do that rather than bundling it. And I believe that the items will still come out the same way.
Madam Mayor, you're correct.
Yeah.
Just as a matter of best practice.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, members of the council, I need a motion on first the Chase zoning ordinance amendment
I would move.
and a conditional use permit for Chase Commercial.
I would move that motion. Thank you.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, and the clerk has the division of the House. And then the other one is the change to our I-3 zoning, and that now permits schools, universities, libraries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mayor.
And that needs, and that's still a simple majority vote.
It is, Mayor. I understood Councilmember Keeley's first motion to be about the ordinance amendment. And then this one,
This
would
one
the
is
next
the
would be the
zoning.
CUP.
This
Yeah,
would be the
the
CUP.
Okay,
I'd move approval of the CUP application.
okay.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, nay. And the clerk has the division of the House. Okay, very good. And, Mr. Miller, thank you very much. You all know how much respect I have for you, but you have to make a business decision. I have to make a business decision for the city of Burnsville. And it might be different from my colleagues, but for me, it is about, when we look at our land use and all of that. So, thank you so much. And listen, all of the products you have brought before us have all been wonderful. So, thank you for your contributions and all that you have in the city of Burnsville as well. Thank you. The next item is 5F, and that's the ordinance adopting revisions to City Code Title IX and the traffic regulations, and presenting is City Clerk Michelle Collins. Ms. Collins.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is the final title coming from the Code Review Task Force, Title IX. And we have some basic language updates and removing some duplication and editing for simplified language. There was not too many changes to this section. I would note that this title also includes the language about overnight parking, which this council has scheduled to come to you at a future meeting already. The Code Review Task Force did review that and ask questions, and their consensus was to keep the language as is. I stand for any questions.
Any questions? Okay. There are no questions, and this is not a public hearing, so members of the council, I need a motion, two motions. One, to adopt the ordinance.
Unless you can bundle if we don't think there's.
Yeah, any descending around here? Okay, okay. So we're going to do, to adopt the ordinance, and then the summary ordinance publication.
So moved.
There's a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and a motion carries. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I
Yes.
could just add, that was a heck of a 2.5 years in this project, and I'm glad to see it come to the end. And I'm looking forward to looking at Title 10 and coming to us with
Yeah,
their recommendations.
yeah. And I went to the last meeting of the task force to thank them for their work. And they will be coming before us in the future so that we can publicly thank them for the work that they have done. That was some heavy lifting, a lot of heavy lifting, and I'm grateful. All of us are grateful for the work that the task force has done. And Attorney Shepherd was present at all of those meetings. So thank you. And we look forward to seeing the members of the task force so we can thank them for their hard work.
Mayor and council members, I believe at this time we are scheduled for April 2nd for them to come and get there will be a little recognition reception before, and then we'll be able to give out the plaques to those members that don't have plaques yet.
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Members of the council, there are no other items to come before us this evening, and a motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Good night, and thank you for being with us.